The Vanishing Monster in Puddle Lane. Davy lived in Puddle Lane and he had a sister whose name was Sarah. There was a big old house at the end of the lane, and the house was empty and it had a big garden. Nobody minded if the children went into the garden to play. One day, Davy pushed open the iron gate and went into the garden. The sun was shining, the sky was blue. It was very hot, so Davy sat down under the old tree. Davy had been sitting there for a long time when he heard a noise. He looked up and he saw 2 long green ears. Davy sat very still and he kept very quiet, and soon he saw 2 green eyes. Davy sat very still and he kept very quiet, and soon he saw a long green tail. Davy was just a little bit frightened, but he kept very quiet and he kept very still. The ears and the eyes and the tail all joined up together, and a big green monster came out of the bushes. At that moment, Davy sneezed. He couldn't help himself. The sneeze just burst out. A tissue! And in a moment, the monster had vanished. Davy didn't see him go. He just wasn't there anymore. Davy stared, and the monster had gone. Davy waited. He didn't feel frightened anymore, and before long he saw 2 green ears. Then he saw 2 green eyes, and then he saw a long green tail. The ears and the eyes and the tail all joined up together. The monster was back. He looked very nervous. "Please don't be afraid, monster," said Davy. "I won't hurt you." The monster jumped, and for a moment Davy thought that he would vanish again. But he didn't. He spoke in a whiffly, griffly voice. "And I won't hurt you," said the monster. "Who are you?" asked Davy. "I'm a griffle," said the monster in his whiffly, griffly voice. "What's a griffle?" asked Davy. "A griffle is a vanishing monster," said the griffle. "Griffles are always being frightened by people, so they always vanish when they see anyone. But I don't think I'm frightened of you." "Please don't be frightened of me," said Davy. "Stay here in the garden and play with me." So the griffle stayed and played with Davy. They played hide and seek. The griffle was very good at hiding. All he had to do was vanish, but he always left his ears showing so that Davy could see him. At last it was time for Davy to go home. "Please come with me," he said to the griffle. "I'd like you to come and stay." "You sure you're not frightened?" said the griffle. "I'm not a bit frightened," said Davy. So Davy and the griffle went out of the garden and they went to Davy's house. As they got to the door of Davy's house, Davy's sister Sarah ran out. "Hello, Davy," she cried. "Where have you been?" "Shh," said Davy. "You'll frighten the Griffle." "What's a Griffle?" asked Sarah. "He's a monster," said Davy, "but he's very easily frightened." And when Davy looked, the Griffle had vanished. "He's gone," said Davy sadly. "The Griffle was a friend of mine, and he's gone." I can see his tail. Can you see his tail? "There's nothing there," said Sarah. "You must be making it up." "I'm not," said Davy. "He was there. He played with me in the garden. I wish he hadn't gone." "Perhaps he'll come back," said Sarah. Can you see him? Can you see his ears?